Hello.
Hello.
We are back again.
For another double feature.
This is Nick. He finally has art.
Yes.
This is Nicholas Melville. He's a Volcarona. He's 17. He has Swarm and Flame Body, apparently.
Yes.
He should just have Swarm.
It's just Swarm.
It's just Swarm.
I think you meant to put, I think at one point you put, you tried to put, ability and then Flame Body, or, maybe you were, still picking and then you just, copy pasted whatever, wherever you had written that down and you put it in the file without thinking about it.
Yeah, no, same. As you can tell, this file was very hastily put together. Yes. I like how Nick is just, Cherry's gonna read this and be like, what the fuck? He's got 2 abilities and what?
Swarm and Flame Body. We can do that now? Okay.
Yeah, cool. He's calm and capable of taking hits, and he has Rage Powder, Fiery Dance, Bug Buzz, Quiver Dance, and Hurricane, and he's an Entei House. He's 6 foot, and his date of birth is September 29th, and his blood type is A. His classes are Science, Wooden Metal Shop, Environment, Health, History, Math, Home Ec, Art, Astrology, Drama, Battling, and Gym. Okay. So, Nick as a character is not too complicated on the surface. He's a nice guy. He's really patient. He's really...
He has to be.
He has to be. He's easy to get along with. He never gets angry. He's, not the type to, he's kind of steady big brother type of character, that kind of person. Yeah, just, he's a good kid. He's really smart, really smart, and he's kind of he's incidentally also kind of techie, but that's not his entire character. He's kind of...
No, it's more his family is more techie than he
Yeah, no, just incidentally.
Lots of tech today.
Yes. So you're probably wondering about the final sentence in that.
What is the final sentence? Because I can't read it.
Absolutely not the alias of a battler from Team Heatwave, said battler being known for his cruelty to almost insane degrees and passion in battle. So let's open that can of worms. So, Team Heatwave are a champion doubles division duo from obviously. Obviously, there's 2 of them. From Sinnoh. Last year in the timeline, they were the team that was sent to the Quad Regional Tournament. Important thing to note, in the Boat RP, I had mentioned that to be a champion, you have to make it to the final round of the tournament. That's kind of stupid.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this, and because this came from a misunderstanding that I had, because I thought that basically when you got into that tournament, you were already a champion.
Because you're fighting with the big dogs, it doesn't matter.
Basically, what is true from my understanding and from what we talked about is that basically the region, everybody who wants a chance at this, they just funnel them into 2 big tournaments,
and the winners of each are the 2 representatives from the region.
So basically, they already won a tournament, so they're already a champion, and then they get to fight with the other champions.
Yeah, so, and that obviously makes more internal logistics sense.
Yeah.
Because he was like, well, what about Anantha and Say? I'm like, well, they're champions. He's like, well, then what tournament did they win? Because this is the first time they've ever done anything like this. And I was like, you're right. That doesn't make any sense.
So I'm like, because I think I had her, refer to herself as such at one point. And I'm like, but wait.
She couldn't be.
But then that doesn't make any sense if it's only, the people reaching the final match, and you're like, yeah, you're right.
You're right, yeah, no, so that's a retcon. And, it makes way more sense this way.
Yeah.
So that's that.
So they're champion fighters. It's not that they reached the final round, which they didn't.
No. Not even close, but...
I don't know if they managed to get through maybe, a round, or if they just got taken out in the first one. Probably the latter.
Yeah.
But they made it to the to the big dogs, like you said.
Yes. And they are neither big nor dogs. Actually, he's kind of big.
Yeah. They were a man now dog.
They were a man dog. So Team Heatwave, like I said, they're from Sinnoh, and they're champion fighters, and so they were crowned champion the year before Boat RP, so the summer before Boat RP.
Yeah, I was as you were saying that, I was like, we need to have an indicator for the timeline. So I was like, it's like pre-BR. Like it was one like
pre-BOTRP.
Yes.
It's the year. It's the previous quad regional tournament.
Because Lord knows we don't know what year it is.
No, because we can't really set a solid year to it until we start. And it's kind of like
but it doesn't really matter.
No, it could be set in 2016 or 2017 or whenever. But it doesn't really matter.
No.
And then in the BOTRP, right before the BOTRP, in the deciding tournament to be who would be sent to the thing, obviously Galatavar's won. I don't need to tell you that. The other team that won is Frigid Manor, and I also don't need to tell you that, but I do need to tell you that because Heatwave were the people that lost to them.
So they kind of, while they previously had the spot, they kind of lost it this last year. Yeah. And that's kind of a bit of a sore spot.
So, yeah. So that's why they weren't, they kind of got their spot stolen by Frigid Manor, and they were not too happy about that. No. They were kind of like, oh, that sucks. That really sucks, actually. What the fuck? Yes. Like, who are these people? Hilariously, Team Heatwave are also kind of weirdos. It's helmed by Crescentia Devera. I'm mentioning this now. And her sidekick is a boy, this guy. And I'm going to say this name. We're going to be like, Caddy, you're stupid. His name is Phoenix Cartwright. I might be changing that.
She's like, is that too stupid? I'm like, yes. She's like, I'm doing it anyway.
I said, I have a character named Lincoln Park, honey. It's too late for dignity.
And I'm like, yeah.
It's too late for dignity. So anyway, so it's Crescentia Devereaux and then her friend, Phoenix Cartwright. And Phoenix, so basically, they kind of do the fighter, like they do like a...
They put up a character.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Chrissy's in a second. But Phoenix's Nyx is he's got like this Tron mask. We don't have art of this, but he's got like this Tron mask on, and he looks terrifying. And he acts like a raving lunatic. Like he's like, it's really hard to explain, but like he basically what's a good way to explain this? It's like
I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
No, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say either. But it's like
he becomes a completely different person.
Yeah, like completely different person. Like he's very violent, he's very mean, and he's very he just acts like a lunatic. Like, it's the best way I can put it.
It's almost like he's reversed.
Yeah, like it's like opposite day. Yeah. Like he's like evil Nick. And it's worth noting that Phoenix Cartwright is his legal name, and why that's relevant is because his parents, Basil and Flannery Cartwright, are the owners of a software development company, and it's a pretty notable one because they have this really popular antivirus program for like computers. So imagine the headlines of this son of this tech company like being a lunatic on TV.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't like that. And to kind of reverse engineer this, Nick always had a very big interest in battling, but like he didn't really want to do it by himself. And he met Chrissy, and we'll get more into that in a second. But she's really good at it, and he was like, you know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And he kind of made up the personas, I guess, or maybe he kind of made up hers, and he was like, oh, just let me do my thing. And he kind of did it to spite his parents, because they don't support him in much of anything.
No.
Like, they're kind of like, oh, you know, you should do what we want you to do. He's like, but I want to battle. And it's like, well, who the fuck, why would you want to battle? And like, idiots do that.
You're gonna do virus scan.
You're gonna be a coder. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna code. He's like, I fucking hate coding. the internal logistics of this is that when he battles, it was a way to kind of like relieve stress because he's like he doesn't take his stress out on people.
No.
So the persona is kind of like an incarnation of like all of the anger and stress into a character.
Yes.
So that's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And he figured like the more outlandish and like crazy the character was, the more it would piss off his parents.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like he's trolling his parents, but he's also like kind of like, you know, letting his frustrations out about his life and his and things going on with him. And the thing that he wants to work on at Trinity is kind of like detaching the more unhealthy habits, I guess, because like when he battles, he like turns his brain off.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
No.
So now he's into the habit of, when I battle, now I'm this person. So it's sort of like GE, but like not literally a different person.
No.
It's sort of like that. So yeah, no. But I swear to God, he's fine. He's a good person. He's a sweet guy. It's just he's a psycho when he battles.
Speaking of turning your brain off.
Yeah, speaking of turning your brain off, here's this girl. This is Christen Thiering. I like her a lot. She is a Napoleon and she's 18. Her ability is Torrent. She's bold and somewhat stubborn. Her ability is Hydro Pump, not Hydro Cannon. Those are two different moves. Signal Beam, Ice Beam, and Flash Cannon. And she
I was actually thinking about the Hydro Pump versus Hydro Cannon. I think it actually does make sense that it's Hydro Cannon with the way that their strategy works.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. I'll mention that in a second. So you want to keep it Hydro Cannon?
Yeah, I think we might just stick with Hydro Cannon on this one.
She's 5'7", and her date of birth is April 17th, and her blood type is O. Her classes are Science, Wood and Metal Shop, Environment, Health, History, Home Ec, Art, Astrology, Drama, Battling, and Gym. So do you want me to talk about her, or do you want to talk about her?
I mean, should we, what should we do? Should we talk about the battling?
We'll talk about that first, because that was what we were talking about with Nick
so we
just
can
now.
kind of, like, bridge it a little bit.
So, like I said with the Crescentia Devereaux thing, that's the name of her character? Excuse me. I think we have a sketch of the character. Do you want to show that?
No.
No? Okay.
I'll make sure to have, like, something more presentable at some point.
Okay, that's cool, because I know you don't really like showing sketches. That's totally fine. So, yeah, basically, she looks very, royal-looking, I guess. She's very, like...
regal, I think.
Regal, that's the word I'm looking for. She's got, like,
she
cool
actually has, like,
the mask and
Napoleon
stuff.
Mask with the tridents.
Yeah. So, she looks real cool. She looks real put together. The character is, like, kind of like this queenly, haughty... you know, bitch, I guess, almost.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where where you want to go with that, but that's kind of...
No, it's a little bit like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just the character.
See, the thing is that, like, unlike his, like, hers doesn't really come from, like, a big, like, personal place. Because, I think, basically he just gave her a script, and she's like, I can do this.
She's just a really good actress.
And so, basically, that's what she does, is she just follows what he came up with. And I think, in a way, since it's, like, a big, like, fancy, like, snobbish person, he's just also making fun of his parents, probably.
Yes.
Like, extending that logic.
And I think also, yeah, no, and I think it's kind of like that too. And she's put at the helm, even though she is basically no one.
No.
Chrissy's mother works as what, like a maid?
Ish. Something.
Some kind of butlery person for the Cartwrights, and that is how Chrissy and Nick met.
Yes.
Because
basically, she literally is nobody.
Yeah.
She's not anybody important. She's not from the same rich background that he is.
No.
Which is also why her legal name is not the name
fancy
that she uses when battling.
Yeah, no, she gets the fancy name, and then her real name is just kind of...
Yeah, regular.
Yeah.
I only just now realized this, but it has endearing in it.
Oh. No, she's a baby, okay? She's literally a baby. I love her very much. Okay, we had to leave because our hello egg yolk came.
Yeah, okay, so we got these meals, and like you get the ingredients, so you have to cook them, like.
It's quaint.
And it's fine. It's good because we don't have to go to the store and figure out like what do we want to make for dinner, and then we're like, we don't really want to make anything.
Yeah.
And then we eat like shit. So like it's our way to like not eat like shit.
Yes.
But now we got. It was the egg apocalypse.
Egg apocalypse.
Okay, so first of all, like. I'm unpacking the box and I take out the first meal. That's fine because they're all in these little like
neat little cardboard thing. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I take out the first one. That's fine. I put it in the fridge. I take out the second one. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I put it in the fridge. I take out the third one and I'm like, something's wrong with this. And I look at it, and there's eggs that are cracked because we got a little box of 4 eggs, and 2 of the eggs had gotten cracked and had spilled out through the box into the entire like thing. And so it ruined the potatoes that were in there, and everything was covered in egg. We managed to wash the other stuff off.
Oh yeah, no. So that was like horrible.
It was terrible.
Yes.
And like, oh my god. But so we fixed that, and she's like washing off. She's in the kitchen. She's washing off the other things. This is important to these character stories, by the way.
Because we have to tell this now.
We have to tell this now, or else we're going to forget.
Yes.
So, she's washing off the eggs, and I'm just putting the other stuff in the fridge. So, I'm like, I pick up the last thing. I'm like, I hope the egg didn't spill into this. And I'm like, oh, this has more eggs. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We have 2 things with eggs. I think I knew that there was, like, 2 things with eggs. I'm like, oh, okay. 2 things with eggs. So I put 4 eggs in the fridge.
Yes.
And I take out the thing. And I look at the other things that are left, or that I already put in the fridge, and I notice something in there. I'm like, does that come with eggs? So I take out another box of 4 eggs. And I'm like, oh, okay. I wonder. So I check the last box.
And
or the first one that was in there. And there's 4 more eggs. So, I'm like, hey, good news. Losing those 2 eggs isn't a problem because we got 12 more.
I'm like, are we in a fucking sitcom? Luckily, none of them were fine.
No, we have
none of them were fine. Luckily, all of them were okay.
Yeah, we have... No, so, like, it's like, oh, we lost 2, but we still have 14, and we needed 9, so, we're good.
Yeah, so we're
not going to be short on the eggs anytime soon.
We're going to have fucking omelets all week, even though we need them for the recipes, but,
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly we don't eat all of them, so...
Yes, we're going to just have, like, eggs for days.
Eggs.
Anyway.
Eggs.
Ms. Endearing here.
Yes.
She's kind of, I was saying she's kind of stupid, and only a little bit. She's only a little stupid.
See, the thing with her is that she's not necessarily stupid. She just kind of, like... The way that they battle... She usually only had to really do one thing, which is while he uses rage powder.
And if you don't know what rage powder does, basically you use it on your opponents, and it's sort of like follow me, where they only can target you.
So basically, like, he uses that, and then he distracts them and flies around like an idiot.
Yeah, like he basically he plays cat and mouse with the enemies, like he just runs around in circles.
Meanwhile, all she has to do is basically hang back and just shoot hydra cannons to like pick him off, basically. And that usually works. And she knows not to do this against dragon types, water types, and grass types. 2 of those she has Ice Beam for, and the other one she just kind of, does what works. But the main thing is that she usually doesn't have to do anything other than use Hydro Cannon. That's the winning strategy in, like, anything. If there's
that's the win button.
If there's anything that comes into her path, Hydro Cannon. Don't question. Just Hydro Cannon. Let's go. But what the issue is that, she, because of this, like, she's very strong, but she doesn't really know, like, why or like what she's doing, because she hasn't really ever had to think about it, because usually she uses one move and that's fine. She doesn't have to think about doing other moves or thinking about matchups or anything. So because of that, she's not stupid, she just doesn't really like understand the finer points of battling, I think is what I would say.
No, because it's like okay, you know, you got this opponent in front of you and they're bug flying. And it's like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, a hydro cannon. It's like, well, yeah, but what would be more effective?
What would be smarter? And she'd be like, I don't know.
Why are you asking me? It's like, no, bug flying resist signal beam. Try again. And it's like, flash cannon? And no. It's okay, well, that leaves ice beam. Like, yeah, you would use ice beam. And she's like, I don't fucking know why you'd use ice beam.
I mean, if you say so. I mean, I wouldn't know.
Like, I would just use Hydro Cannon.
That's for grass and dragon types that I can't hit with Hydro Cannon.
Yes.
But yeah, so, like, she's not stupid. She is kind of, like, you know, she self-admittedly is, like, not the brightest bulb in the box. Not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yeah, she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Because she rightly figures that Nick can do most of the thinking for them.
Yeah.
But that's not always feasible when you're in a heated situation and you need to think on your feet.
But most of the time, that's fine. And that's why, like, up until now, she was fine with that. But, like, now she's here because basically she wants to do better. Because she kind of feels like she was the reason that they lost. Because people figured that she was the weaker link in their team in terms of, like, you know, not really being able to...
No, because, you know, if you were to even examine their strategy for a second, you could easily pick it apart in a myriad of ways.
And she doesn't know how to adapt, which is her problem.
No.
Because she doesn't really know what she's
doing. And I don't think Nick saw essentially taunts coming. Because Damon has taunts. I don't think he saw that coming.
Yeah, but even so, like, she could have adapted and, like, they could have maybe, like, still done something, but, like, she kind of couldn't, so... He could have told her, like, hey, maybe try this, that, and the third, but by then it was already kind of too late. But the point is that, you know, it's kind of a bit of shame, so she's here, and she's, trying to do better. And
their gimmick is that they don't want anyone to know that that's them.
Because she's kind of ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, it also partially comes from the fact that, like, when she's battling, she's pretending to be somebody else. So, like, it kind of is a blessing and a curse in this regard, in that, like, nobody will recognize her if she is herself. But at the same time, she doesn't want people to know that is her, because then they'll be like, oh, well, but she's just, like, she's not very smart. She's, like, she needs to get help on, like, even the most basic things here. Because that'll make her, like, look bad overall, too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a thing, it's like, it makes it easier for her to blend in, because obviously nobody knows her this way, but at the same time, like, if somebody does, like, figure it out, she'd be basically horrified that, like, they know that she's here and she basically needs help with the basics.
Yeah. And so her and Nick kind of don't hang out that much, even though they're, like, inseparable usually, and that's kind of tough on them both also. Because she's like, but what if somebody, like, Galaxy Brains, and they see a Napoleon and Volcarona hanging out, and then they think it's us, and then Nick's like, well, that would be profiling, but I mean...
Yes. But you never know.
Yeah, so
she's kind of wary of that.
So it's just kind of, it's hard on the both of them.
But luckily for her, she doesn't have to, like, remember that she's not who she's saying she is.
Yeah, no, and she always calls Nicholas Nick anyway.
Yeah, so either way,
she has no chance of slipping up and saying the wrong name.
No, so that's it worked out for them in that, like, the one of them who could maybe mess this up can literally not mess this up.
Yes. And I yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of like that. And now I know what your burning question is. Should I address this too?
You can address.
Do they like each other? That's your burning question. I know it is. Answer. Everyone and their mother has told Christen, you can't fall for that boy. You know, he's rich.
Yes.
Why would no? So he's she likes him as a friend.
You're poor. You're too poor and stupid to.
Yeah,
no.
It's
never gonna work.
It's never gonna work. And then there's Nick. And Nick would die for her. Frankly, he very much likes her, but he thinks she's too oblivious to notice. Which is not that true.
Which is vaguely true, but not entirely.
No, like, he chalks it up just to her obliviousness. But no, she just, like, they hug and stuff. And it's like, oh, Nick's such a good friend. And Nick's like, yeah, we're good friends.
Yes.
So, yes, that's your burning question. I know you're going to ask that. So, short answer, yeah. But, like...
There's a big but to it.
It's a big but, yeah. So I figured I would just get that out the gate. But, yeah, so that's them. And they're good.
Right out of the way, out of the bat.
Out of the way, out of the bat. They're good characters.
Yes.
Is that about it? I'm trying to think of any questions she might have. We should address this too. You might wonder if Team Heatwave have a vendetta against Frigid Manor. Not really.
No, because they knew that like the loss was more on them than it was. Like,
yeah, no, because like they just weren't prepared and it was on them.
So like, no, not at all, really.
So, because I feel like you might ask if there's hard feelings, and not really.
No.
And if you're wondering how Alicia feels about Team Heatwave, she's probably a huge fan.
Because she's a fan of literally everybody.
She's a fan of literally everybody, but like I think she'd like that they're weird because she's weird.
Yes.
I feel like she would totally be into that. So yeah, no, but that's that. So so I feel like that would be something you would ask too, is how they feel about each other, and it's positive. It is what it is. I guess that's it.
They're more positive towards Alicia than her partner.
I'd imagine more of the hard feelings are towards Damon. Actually, you're right.
Well, no, it's not even hard feelings. She just kind of thinks that he's a weirdo.
Chris?
Yes. I mean, she said so before.
Yes. I think Nick doesn't like Damon.
I don't know, man. He freaks me out.
I think Nick doesn't like Damon because I think in their little banter about them, I think Nick said something like, oh... But yeah, no, I think it'd be mostly... It's not Alicia at the very least.
No.
They like her. They think she's fine. It's just Damon is very divisive, as he always is. Yeah. You love him or you hate him. Okay, but that's it, I think, because I can't think of anything else to say.
No, I don't think so.
I wanted to address that because I figured that would be the first thing she'd ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, just they're goofballs. I don't like them.
Yes.